Mainstream media, whether out of ignorance or fear of Trump's push against free speech, has failed to seriously cover his clear cognitive decline. At this point, you don't even need in-depth reporting. Just following him day to day makes it obvious. At a press event in the Oval Office today, he once again had to be rescued by his handlers after stumbling badly. And the irony of what he said right before being pulled back is worth breaking down. Before we get into that, a quick reminder. If you're enjoying this channel, please leave a like. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It really helps support the work we do here. Now, before we unpack how Trump's own team had to step in yet again, let's first look at his comments on the issue at the center of this show. His attack on free speech.
This week, do you see a difference between cancel culture and consequence culture?
I mean, your question's a little trick question. I'm a very strong person for free speech. At the same time, when you have networks that where I won an election, like in counties, I guess it's 2,600 to 525. That's called a landslide times two. When you have that level of popularity or voter support, as I did in the last election, and yet 97 and 94%, different numbers, you see different numbers with different stats, but 97, 94, 95, 96% of the people are against me in the sense of the newscasts are against me. The stories are they said 97% bad. So they gave me 97. They'll take a great story and they'll make it bad. See, I think that's really illegal, personally. You can't have a free airwaves. You're getting free airwaves from the United States government, and you can't have that and say, and somebody that just won an election, and I had to go through this during the election.
Right now, it's important to highlight not only that the right has never truly cared about free speech, but also that they consistently operate in bad faith. They have no core principles, only a pursuit of power at any cost. That's why Democrats must be equally relentless in pushing back against this authoritarian agenda. Governor Gavin Newsom is showing that fight in California, and we need to follow that lead. Trump has gone so far as to label the media villains simply because they acknowledged he lost in 2020, and now he wants revenge. When Democrats hold power, shouldn't we ensure accountability for those who have broken the law? As Trump tries to rewrite the past, it's our job to make the truth clear. And speaking of rewriting, before his handlers stepped in, Trump made a rather ironic attempt to mock President Biden's cognitive state.
Man, by the way, that didn't approve, if you take a look at what's happening in Congress, we had a man that signed almost everything with an auto pen, and he didn't tell the people from the auto pen, whoever was using it. The one man that used it predominantly said that Biden only spoke to him twice, and it was only about the weather. Like it was about nothing. So those pardons that he gave are illegal. He gave illegal pardons. And that includes the congressman that destroyed and deleted all the information from J6. They deleted everything because it turned out that they were wrong.
There are several reasons Donald Trump keeps bringing up the auto pen. First, he wants to discredit President Biden's accomplishments and claim them as his own. We see it with infrastructure projects funded under Biden's administration. Trump now tries to take credit. At the same time, he uses the auto pen narrative to delegitimize Biden's actions altogether, pushing the idea that if Biden is in decline, nothing he signed should count. Of course, that's not true. What's ironic is that Trump himself often appears unaware of what's happening in his own administration. In fact, his handlers frequently have to step in and explain ideas he seems to forget, even ones he may have introduced himself.
Will, could you just give a quick description of what we're doing and what we're signing, etc.? And
yes, sir.
I will do that. So
we have two items for your attention today, sir. A major focus of your administration has been shifting the conversation and shifting the policy dynamics around the issue of immigration, closing the border, preventing illegal immigration, but also, as is the case with the executive order in front of you, opening new pathways for truly extraordinary people to come contribute to America instead of taking away from it. So this executive order is entitled the Gold Card. It will set up a new pathway, a new visa pathway for foreigners of extraordinary ability who are committed to supporting the United States for a payment of $1 million to the U.S. Treasury, or if a corporation is sponsoring them, $2 million by that corporation, and that will give them access to expedited visa treatment as part of this new Gold Card program.
And one of the biggest problems we have is that people, they go to the best schools and they do great and they get great marks, and then they're thrown out of the country. You're not allowed to stay. This way, a corporation will be able, sort of like a signing bonus in baseball or football, a corporation will be able to get them to stay in the country, and I think it's going to be tremendously successful. Howard, would you?
I'll stop it there because we don't need to hear any more rambling about the so-called gold card, whatever that even means. What's important is recognizing that this was originally Trump's idea, yet now he can't remember it. Every piece of legislation and every executive order has to be explained to him. Trump has become more of a vessel for others to push their agendas. Whether it's Stephen Miller driving extreme policies or political allies using him as a stepping stone, he often doesn't understand what's happening in his own administration, which is deeply concerning given his claims about President Biden's competency. In reality, Trump's own team constantly steps in to correct or guide him, even on issues he should know inside and out. Much of the heavy lifting on policy is carried out by corporate insiders and wealthy backers who are really running the show, and that matters, because it highlights just how far Trump's decline has gone. He's more unstable than ever. Something you can see clearly in moments like this, when he lashes out at a reporter.
New Orleans. We have to save New Orleans.
New York. Mr. President, when are you going to get details
We're going to be
on
going
Memphis?
into New York too. Yeah.
Mr. President,
and
when
we're
are you
going to be
gonna-
going in quiet. You're really obnoxious.
I'm not obnoxious, but I'm trying to ask you, what about your plans
You are
for
really
Memphis?
obnoxious.
I'm not obnoxious, but I
Okay.
am asking, what are your
Okay.
plans for Memphis? Many people want
I'm
to
not
know
going to
what
talk
the
to you
numbers are
until
gonna
I
be like.
call on you.
What are your plans for
So,
Memphis?
who
Mr.
else? Yeah, go
President?
ahead.
Yeah, I just want to.
If there's anyone in America who really doesn't need to be lecturing others, it's Donald Trump. For him to tell a reporter to be quiet is pure hypocrisy. People are exhausted from hearing his voice day after day, so the idea that he's some champion of free speech doesn't hold up. And yet, here he was, trying to make that claim right here.
Things like that happen. George Slopadopoulos from your network, right? George Slopadopoulos had to pay $16 million to me because of what he said. And that's ABC. You had to pay more than that. Your network had to pay more than that. So I think it's very sad. But I think that reporting has to be at least accurate to an extent.
So let's get this straight. Donald Trump says it's somehow unacceptable when people criticize him. Did you catch The Daily Show last night? Jon Stewart delivered some sharp mockery, and it really highlighted just how thin-skinned Trump is. He constantly claims to be a champion of free speech, yet at the same time insists no one should say anything negative about him. You can't even run effective propaganda when he contradicts himself at every turn. His words collapse the moment you put them under scrutiny because there's no real principle behind them. And Jen Psaki broke this down with some excellent analysis right here.
Did a lot of stuff you could mock him for.
We've seen this administration crack down on free speech again and again. And while some may say this moment shouldn't be the breaking point, it's worth pointing out what just happened. The comedian set to host the White House Correspondents' Dinner, a black woman, had her appearance canceled. Now there won't be a comedian at all, simply because Donald Trump can't handle criticism. I understand people saying there have been countless breaking points, but that's exactly why we should use every single one of them to call this administration out. That's what we'll keep doing on this show. And if you want to support that work, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and if you stayed with us until the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.